Chapter 2. Augustine Boyle stretched as far as his limbs could go. It was rare that he woke up and he was the only one in bed. His partner Christine must have gone to see their daughter, Nightingale. The star shape he made in the bed reminded Augustine of the star jumps he had to do over and over again at school. They were obsessed with making kids fitter and stronger. The PE teachers used to stand over a group of children delivering their own brand of motivation. But he wasn't that type of kid. Augustine didn't try harder when he was shouted at. In fact, quite the opposite. He got up and walked to the mirror on the wall at the opposite side of the bedroom. He had taken a punch tackling a killer the week before, and the right-hand side of his face had swelled. Augustine had taken them for right-handed. Trust him to come across as southpaw. He tried to duck and ended up just ducking into the uppercut. It still felt as raw as it did the day it happened to Augustine, but all the checks, MRIs and X-rays came up with no lasting damage. All he could do was wait for the swelling to die down. After spending a few months in a coma after a devastating blow from another killer, any blow to the head worried Augustine and everyone around him. Not long after that, the number of people around him grew. Christine moved in. Nightingale followed. His life was so very different before and after that. The coma felt as though it shielded a life that Augustine knew he had lived, but wasn't totally sure what it was like. His memory wouldn't give up all the details, no matter how hard he tried. He looked out of the window. Another rainy day. There were far too many of these in the northeast of England, as far as he was concerned. He had always told people that he would move one day, but all of his roots were here in Washington. He was born there, went to school there, worked there, and now had a family there. The window of opportunity to move somewhere warmer and drier closed more all the time. Augustine was no longer sure he would fit through that window. As he got ready for work, he could hear the laughter between mother and daughter in the next room. He loved to hear this sound. As his baby girl had grown up to something close to no longer being a baby, her character shone through. He could tell she was going to be one of those happy children who saw fun and sunshine in everything. Augustine tiptoed past her room, not wanting to interrupt the joy. He would listen to it from downstairs, leaving the door open so he could eat his breakfast, listening to the women in his life having a whale of a time. "Augustine, is that you?" Christine asked as the floorboard creaked under his heavy-footed gait. He forgot in his haste to get past and leave them to it that there was a floorboard that needed his attention. I thought I'd grab some breakfast." "And not come in to say good morning?" "You sounded like you were having so much fun. I didn't want to interrupt." "Well, as always, your timing is immaculate. I need the loo, and she needs a nappy changed. Get yourself in here," Christine instructed. As she did, she walked over and gave him a hug and a kiss on the cheek. He reciprocated. Seconds later, he was dealing with a stinky nappy. But he wouldn't have changed that smell for the world. In fact, it was the person who was his world that delivered that smell to his nostrils. Augustine had become adept at changing a nappy. The first few times he ended up with poo everywhere, and both him and baby needed a wash afterwards. He was all fingers and thumbs, but watching Christine and practicing left him in the position where he could change a nappy wearing his suit and be confident that it wouldn't need a trip to the dry cleaners after. As he finished, the phone in the inside pocket of his suit buzzed. Christine re-entered the room, picked the phone out for him, and pressed it against the side of his face. "Augustine speaking." "Gus, don't come to the station. Head straight over to Finchdale in Biddick. We've got a body. Woman in her 40s. "I'll be there in 10 minutes, Augustine replied, before indicating to Christine to take the phone away. He washed his hands, kissed his partner and daughter on the cheek, and headed out of the house.